Hello friends, my name is Christopher. Today is the 1st of October 2020 and this is what's growing in Wisconsin. Spoiler alert, not much. As you can see behind me, we've got leaves falling on the ground. These are oak, chestnut, and maple, and the leaves from my fruit trees in the orchard haven't started to fall yet, but everything is, pretty much done. So let's, before we go on in and take a look at the front yard. That's in this direction for what it's worth. Ooh, aside from the spooky ghosts and witches' hats, are making use, am I in the frame? There we go. Are making use of the corn stalks. Like I said, didn't get a whole lot of corn off of them, but the stalks are always good to dry and put out there. Got a couple pumpkins from a local nursery. Same with the mums. Spider webs up. I just wanted to show off my harvest Halloween decorations. You can see this is where that corn was from, and it's all gone. I just have to clean out the little schnibbles I left here at the bottom. And most of the brassicas, of course, are done. This was supposed to be Brussels sprouts. They didn't end up getting bigger than a marble, so this is just a waste, as is the other one, which is technically Brussels sprouts. I've got one cabbage left. Yay! That's Brussels sprouts too, and it's pathetic. I planted my brassicas too close together, and they didn't get enough sunlight because of the corn blocking them. Lessons learned for next year, right? Of course, this is where the runner beans was. Those have all been taken down and picked. I've got two great big mason jars full of beans that I can rehydrate and use in soups and things this year, which is pretty terrific. You can see tomatoes and some of the giant zinnias behind me here. Tomatoes were really underwhelming this year and underproducing, and I'm not entirely certain why, so I'll be doing some different amendments with compost and nutrients to see what can be done next year. They're also going to be in a different spot in the garden. There's still good things to talk about in the garden. Check out this. This was the second seeding of zinnias that we did like 2 months ago, and they're not as giant as the ones that were planted in the spring, but we've got lots of big, beautiful heads and an assortment of colors, pinks, yellows. Here's a white. And last night we had, I think, just a little bit of a frost, or maybe it was a degree or two above. Actually, it probably didn't freeze because nothing is wilting, but we got close. It's going to be a cold month of October, but I was thinking I would have to come out here and snip all of these off, but it looks like they're going to be able to last a little bit longer. Same with the zucchini in front. We've got 2 or 3 that we can pick now, which is great. They weren't attacked as much by the squash bugs that killed off the zucchinis and other squash earlier in the season, so I call that a success and a good use of this bed, which would otherwise have laid empty. So you know what else likes cool weather? These herbs. Basil, I guess we did get a little frost. Basil, and we've got parsley back here. There's some cilantro in the back. This is chamomile? I think that's chamomile. Anyways, this whole pot filled up and it looks kind of nice, but I'll be snipping this off and making some pesto. Kind of don't expect to do fresh pesto in October, but that's a nice treat. So here's a great big surprise. I'm standing kind of on top of my rhubarb and we've got raspberries around me here, but you can see these yellow flowers surrounding me. These were extra Jerusalem artichokes that I didn't have room to fit in my barrel, so I just threw them in the side compost here and they took. And in fact it's the ones that are free balling it. That's not the right word. It's the ones that are free in the compost back here and not restricted by space that are taller and that have flowered. Which is not to say that I don't have flower heads coming just off camera in the barrel where the rest of them are, but they're not open yet and they're not as tall. Isn't that something? Makes me think that next year I will take these out of the barrel and make a little bed for them, or just throw them all back there and let them go crazy. I'm particularly proud of this. It's not anything that I'm harvesting right now, but this is 2 full years and I have a confluent bed of co-planted asparagus and strawberries. You can see how nice and thick the strawberries are here. Couple years of mothers and juveniles that's set, and it's going to be great for harvesting next year. Going to put some tulle on top of here to discourage the birds, but really they weren't too predatory because of the cover that the asparagus provides. That being said, I won't have as much cover next year because it'll be year 3 and I can harvest mature asparagus starting in 2021. So I have high hopes for this bed next year, and it brings me so much joy to see this just completely full and thriving. So I know from your perspective this is a mess, but I wanted to show you how much growth the gooseberry plant put on. The gooseberry bush, all this new growth is where the berries will form next year. So I'm going to probably cage this later this month and keep it caged over winter time in the spring so that it hopefully doesn't get eaten like it did this year. And if that's the case, we should get a ton of gooseberries on it. And then behind me, the raspberries are starting to yellow and brown and fall down. As they do, they look really sad and depressing, but that's fine. Their time has come to an end. What else can I say over here that you can see? I can just reiterate how disappointed I was with my squash. Only getting one squash, everything else was killed by those bugs. I will be doing something different next year. You've already seen the tomatoes from the other angle, but I just like the shot because it frames my house so nicely, and I'm kind of hungry for a tomato, so I'm going to pick it off. Anyways, I'm going to harvest 100% of these in probably a week or two and make salsa verde. I love green tomato salsa. It tastes so good. I made a ton of it last year, and I'm interested to see how much I make this year. It just seems like fewer tomatoes. I guess we'll find out when I actually review my measurements, because I have weighed everything this year just like last year to compare it to. So I guess we'll find out. Anybody else have low yields of tomatoes or something strange? Let me know. Before we pop into the backyard to say goodbye, I just wanted to go to the older section of the orchard. This Snappy Mac Macintosh apple and Reliance peach are both 4 years old. Obviously the peach is fantastically huge and full, and we would have had a good yield from it had I not been stupid, not sprayed, and let the squirrels eat it. Whatever. That'll be fine, and I'm sure we'll get a good harvest out of it next year. But the Snappy Mac, I don't know. We didn't really get a lot of vertical growth out of it, or lateral growth out of it, and it has had these kind of yellow leaves like this. Now, it did get girdled pretty bad, but the grafting held and looks really, really nice. I'll be rewrapping these trees all pretty heavy duty this month, all the way up to make sure that they don't get any sort of varmint damage in the spring. But I'm going to, I think it's time that I get over my desire to do things as organically as possible, and I give these guys some good fertilizer. Maybe this is a mineral deficiency that these are turning yellow. That's one of the things that I read. I don't know. Either way, they're going to get some good fert, and they're going to be sprayed with, I guess, neem oil and any other kind of preventative to keep like things from eating the fruit when it's time to harvest. So fingers crossed. All the new trees look really good. They've got those nice dark green leaves. We had some growth. This is the only one that yellowed, but I don't know. Aside from that peach tree, this one's my baby, and I really want to see it survive. So fingers crossed this isn't the last time you see it on camera. Well, friends, by and large, that is the end of the video. I didn't do as much gardening this year as I did in years past because I spent a lot of time working on our shed and then finishing off this firewood rack, which was last month's bigger build video. And I'm so satisfied with it because they look beautiful and the backyard is really nice. I've kind of ended all the videos back here since June, so I thought I would end it back here again. If you haven't seen those videos, you want to learn more, obviously there's links for that. Thanks for joining me this gardening season. I am going to come again at the beginning of November, and instead of doing a garden tour, next month it's going to be a recap of lessons learned, probably like 5 things I did best, 5 things I'll do differently. And I'm also going to go over, hopefully, the weight, the quantity of things that we grew this year to make a comparison to last year. So, how was your garden? What do you think of my garden? For 5 years on YouTube, I'm kind of getting tired of the same thing. I know I changed up the format this year, but I think next year, I'm not going to do specific garden tours, but gardening theme videos. I'm tinkering around the idea of gardening with children series, because my daughter will be 2 and then 3 in August next year, middle of gardening season. And I think it would be fun going through and doing some lessons with her. So you can let me know what you think about that. I don't know if it's going to be how-tos or like educational content or what, but I've got a couple ideas, and I think it'll be a fun change. You'll still get to see the garden, but it'll be more informative, and you'll get to see my adorable daughter. And that's that. Thanks for watching. It's been a fun growing season. Hope you've enjoyed it. I know I have. Talk to you later. Leave a comment below. Say hi. And until next time. Bye, guys.